right, we're here in the QX studio. We got the new hotness, the Tango 2. If you've been under a rock, this is probably the first time you've seen it. If you've been on YouTube, there's been about 700 videos about it. Trappy probably lost mine in the mail. I apologize. I know I'm a little cooler than Bardwell, and I should have gotten one. But here, like I said, we got the new Tango 2. I paid for this in full. This is gonna be a no bias review of my first impressions cracking this bad boy open. We're gonna be upgrading from the Nirvana today. This has been my stock radio for, I don't know, 6-8 months, maybe longer. Pretty much since day one it came out, I've had a Nirvana. And I've loved every second of it. I got a couple reasons for upgrading, but they're only minor. I like some TBS gear and I want to check out what's new. So let's get into it. This is the Pro Edition, so we get a little extra swag. All about the TBS swag. We got those worthless stickers, as Sean likes to call them. A little nice crushed velvet bag. All of you about that feel. Get a little ASMR. Oh, yeah. And then we're gonna get in here for all the goodness that we all came here for. Plastic shell. Got some hardware here, some springs, and the tool here that we need to adjust all of that. Lower tension springs than what's in here stock, and the Allen wrench, and some more screws for adjusting from mode 1 through 4. Set those over here. And what we came here for, Tango 2. A little more of that ASMR. The tingles. So we got here, this is the new specs. We got micro crossfire built into this thing. That means you're gonna get 25 through 250 milliwatts. All the features of that, including race mode. Trappy just put out a video sending this thing 50 kilometers. I don't know how far that is in miles, but I know that's a pretty big number. So that means you can put it out there for a decent amount. Anybody who's complaining that there's not enough power, 250 milliwatts should get anybody with a plane or a quad out there a couple miles. Some YouTube shenanigans out there saying you can definitely put more power into it. A little beyond my skill level, but if you're handy with that hot air station, send it. This thing's full-fledged Open TX. It's gonna have all your same buttons as the QX7 or X9D, anything you've run before. You got exit, menu, page. The scroll wheel here is gonna be your main button. With the Pro Edition here, you get these sleek little gimbals. Both the original and the Pro have Hall effect sensors. There's no difference in the actual gimbal operation. The only difference is this little spring mechanism you're gonna get. Nice little folding action here so we can tuck it into our bag as slim as possible. Boom. Unfortunately, this thing does not seem like it comes with a lanyard attachment shenanigans. I don't know, I mean, FR Sky at least did that. Anyway, I guess I'll order one of those from TBS, or maybe the homie FPV Prince can whip me up one on a TPU and it'll hold up for a while. But like I said, this thing's got Open TX, so we can boot her up here real quick.
Welcome to Tango 2.
Bomb. This is currently running Freedom TX. It's essentially Open TX, but Trappy had his devs jump in and make a custom remake of Open TX so that they could push this out as soon as possible. Open TX is gonna merge all of this stuff into the regular Open TX firmware, hopefully in the next update. This thing feels super light in my hands. It's at least a third of the weight of my Nirvana, if not even less than that. I mean, I got the full-size Crossfire on here before. I had to stick an extra battery on here just so I could keep this thing running. And now I should be able to go for days without having to recharge anything. This thing rocks USB-C charging. That's also good for the sim. You just plug it in, it'll ask you what mode you want, and you can just be off rocking in your computer if you want to set something up in the sim. The LED here is tied into the Crossfire, so it's going to give you your bind, any errors. If you're racing on 150k hertz, it'll give you that cool purple LED. In terms of actual other hardware switches we have double momentaries on the back here. We have two position switches. This is probably gonna be my arm switch. And then we have 2 3-position switches. These are very tactile switches. I'm gonna be super confident if I'm in the goggles, I need to hit something. All you plane guys out here, this thing does have trims that you can use in the goggles. A little double tap of the scroll wheel here, and you can cycle through.
Elevator trim, aileron trim, rudder trim.
Little cycle through and exit when you're done. You can just trim them out with the scroll wheel while you're in the menu. This thing does everything Open TX that you've done before. Give you any of your voice alarms. You can set all your curves, custom switches, any of that stuff. Compared to my Nirvana here, it's a little narrower. I still get all the throw that I originally had in just a smaller form factor. Compared to a couple other popular radios we got here, Spectrum's pretty standard in their layout. You know, we got a DX6 here. Everything's lining up pretty good. You know, it's a little narrower, but we're getting pretty similar throws, you know. And then we also got here the tried and true, the X9D Plus liner up here. You get a little more throw with the X9D, but we're talking triple millimeters in there. Pretty minimal. Definitely feel like I have full command over this radio, and it's super light, and I definitely, you know, I might not even need this lanyard hole trappy. We'll see. These gimbals are super smooth compared to my Nirvana. They feel, you know, as everybody says, every gimbal's just like butter. These definitely fall through with that. This is supposed to come with a CRF shot out of the box. I've had CRF shot enabled in this Nirvana for a while. I think it comes stock with the digital gimbals that are in them. So I shouldn't feel much change in transitioning over to this. I hear a bunch of people complaining about why this isn't higher power, and I think there's a couple reasons for that. You know, there's probably some FCC regulations. I think Trappy mentioned something about just the current through the single board, burning stuff out. I fly on 100 milliwatts on my full-size unit, unless I'm flying on the hillside and really sending it. I mean, I'll probably hang on to that thing for the occasions that I do that, but this thing will get me through just about any bando or high density tree flying that I do on the regular basis. So now that we've kind of gone over it, let's jump into just a little quick setup. I'm gonna get some switches programmed in here real quick, and then we're gonna bind it into my wheelie quad, get some motor spinning, and go from there. All right, so like I said, this is just standard OpenTX. We're gonna jump in here and set up some switches. We need to get into our inputs here. So we're gonna scroll down. First input, that's typically my arm switch. I'm gonna jump over here, figure out what input I want. Come down here, go to the source. We're gonna click the switch we want, and then from there, we're just gonna exit out, rinse and repeat. You just gotta make sure that that switch that we're moving is set there. So the Crossfire has the lowest latency on 8-channel. You can open it up to 12 channels, especially with a diversity, I believe. I only typically use 3 or 4 channels, so I'm just gonna set up the 4 main switches here. Now that I got all those set, I need to go into the mixer. So in the same order that we set up these switches, we're gonna match those onto the channels here. Go down here into source, hit our switch again, match up, back down, hitting that source, make sure our switch is selected. All right, so now that I got all my switches activated in here, I got my 4 mains. I really didn't mess with the momentaries. Maybe I'll see something, I'll set up something in the future in the mixes. Maybe I'll do an arm mix, but probably not, just because Flight 1 has double arm and I'm a pretty big fan of that. Next, I'm gonna jump in here. I run Falco X on these quads. So I'm gonna go throw this into the computer. I'm just gonna erase my config here real quick. And then because I've already bound this Crossfire to another Crossfire module, I'm actually gonna have to open this quad up, press the button, and then enter bind mode in here, or enter bind mode and then press the button. Either way, but that's the only way you'll be able to get a Crossfire to bind. There is firmware coming here in the next update that'll allow each receiver to bind to 2 radios, so you shouldn't have to do that. But for now, I'm just gonna crack this quad open, jump back here on the bench after I've opened her up, hit the bind button, and then we'll get some motor spinning real quick. All right, got her all opened up. All right,
Welcome to Tango 2.
we're gonna power this on. So we're in here, just hold the menu real quick, press the menu real quick. One cool thing about the Tango 2 that should be coming in with that OpenTX update is gonna be the Crossfire menu is now your first menu. So I can jump in here to Crossfire, hit my Tango 2 Crossfire, and turn the bind on. So I'm now in bind mode. I'm gonna hit my battery with my quad with a little juice here. Jump in here with the M2. And then we're gonna update. So it's recognized it. You might not be able to see it in the camera here, but we're now on the update screen. It's just gonna do its slow cook update, 15% here. Crossfire's picking up everything just right. Means green light's good to go. All right, boys, we got everything all bound up. Green's on everything. It was super easy. With Betaflight, or if you were running another radio, you might have to get in there and change your channel mapping. With the Falco X, I just thought it'd be easier. I reset my config, reran through that. It took me probably less than a minute, plugged in my battery, spun up my motors. It mapped everything. I set my arm switch, and we're all set. Boom. We're gonna go rip some packs now. Hope you guys like this. Like, subscribe, and comment. So have a great rest of your day.